The
So,
broadcast is
hello.
live. Oh, hello.
Hello. Today, welcome to the Witchin Hour, the Witches In channel. And today, as you can see, we've got Suzie Quartly with us today. And I'm very, very pleased to say that she's stepped in for me. And great pal of mine. And we're going to be having a jolly good chinwag, I expect, don't you?
We usually do.
Might be a bit more than that, though, eh?
Business meetings in Weatherspoons, I seem to remember.
Yes. Do you remember that time I got poked on the back by an unknown force?
Yes.
It was odd, wasn't it? It was strange, yeah. Not a soul to be seen in sight. And it was around about the time of my parking ticket, wasn't it? And I suddenly got this huge poke in the back. And it's like, oh, who's that?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah, and I turned around. There wasn't a soul to be seen, was there? And I was like, oh, parking ticket. So off I went. Yeah, the parking fairy strikes again. That was really useful.
I could do with that spirit. I could have done with that spirit around me few weeks back. So pissed off. I drove up to Chessington with a box of food for aid for a struggling family, and I normally don't try not to go too far, but a half hour's drive for me. I mean, it seems a bit mean when you've got the food and somebody needs not to give it to them.
Absolutely,
and I was surprised there was nobody nearer than myself. And coming back, I was a little bit confused as to at a junction as to which direction I should be going, and the really weird road layout on Cox's Lane, or I don't remember whether I was on Cox's Lane or going onto Cox's Lane, and there was about 3 or 4 yard slip road, and apparently this, and I thought, and I looked up and I saw the sign saying wherever I was heading for, it's that direction. And there's this slip road in front of me that cuts off the roundabout, and there's no cars or buses or anything around. So I go down here, and I think afterwards, that's bloody weird road layout. That thought nothing more of it. But it was a bloody bus lane, and I've got a ticket for it. 60 odd quid. And that's the half price. 65 quid is the half price if I pay.
Wow. That's a bit steep without signs.
I must have been in that bus lane for all of 1.5 seconds.
Wow. Cool, they were on the ball, weren't they?
Well, they've got it's camera stuff, and of course if there's nothing else to watch and some silly idiot goes through the lane, I've had my kick today.
It's an expensive lesson to learn though, isn't it? Crumbs.
Yeah. Part of me wants to go up there and actually have a look at the signage, because
you should do, actually. You can get out of a lot of things by looking at the signage, and if it's inadequate you can get off it. So definitely take a drive up there. Definitely.
Yeah, and make damn sure you don't drive through the same bloody bus lane again.
Exactly. So we got some people in. Hi Tina, hi Jane, hi Glitter Sunflower. I'm sorry I don't know your real name. I'd like to think it was Glitter Sunflower, actually. I think that would be rather nice. Can you imagine? I think that would be really lovely. Anyway, hello. Oh dear. So that's not the only good deed you've done this week, is it, Suzie? What else have you been up to?
Oh, I've fed quite a lot of people, actually. Yeah, I think I've gone over to the dark side. I'm feeding the 5,000. It's not loads of fishes either.
Shame on you.
But no, it's something I'm passionate about, the fact that there's enough food to go round. Worldwide, there's enough food to go around.
Definitely there is,
and there are so many not just hungry, but starving people. As you know, Bekie, one of my sons lives in the Philippines, and the poverty there is abject. And the people in the UK don't know how lucky they are.
No
The Philippines has, for instance, the Philippines has been in lockdown since March, total lockdown, no tears or anything.
Yeah.
And it's the longest lockdown in the world. They haven't got quite the same problem with COVID that we have, but that's possibly because in the slums, somebody dies. Well, that's daily life. And they've got 70% unemployment rate.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah. But if you break, if you're caught breaking lockdown, the punishment, the penalty is a bullet in the back. Before, no right of defence, reply, or anything. That they will shoot you.
Good God.
If you're in the wrong place.
Wow.
Well, so you all, my son does food aid, and that makes sure he's always wearing his pass on a lanyard around his neck.
Yeah.
When he goes out, and it's a different way of life.
Yeah. It's just something you can't conceive that over here, can you? You just
no.
I mean, in all the time that we've had, sort of the more severe lockdowns, obviously I had to work all the way through because I'm a carer. And not once was I challenged, and obviously I was out and about loads, and not once was I challenged or have been challenged. Some of my colleagues were. They got stopped by the police, and obviously they just sort of waved their, their ID badges and sort of said, "Oh, I'm off to work," and that was fine. But you think, well, I know they've got different things, better things to do, but yeah, it's just that is just so extreme. I can't even begin to imagine what that must be like. Just, oh God.
Yeah.
Wow. Really shocking.
The same president, Duterte, did a lot to solve the drugs problem with the Philippine population.
Yeah.
By just declaring the fact that if you shoot a drug dealer, you're immune from questioning, let alone prosecution. All the drug dealers turned themselves in because they were safer in the grotty jails, 50 to a room, and than they were on the streets.
Wow.
It got the drug dealers off the streets.
Yeah, well, what am I doing?
Within a couple of weeks. Within a couple of weeks.
Wow.
And this guy knows how to control his people.
Yeah.
You can't. He's done something that no other nation would be able to do, to clear the drug dealers off the street in a fortnight.
I can't imagine that going down well here. I don't know. I just can't imagine how people would react if that was the situation. It would just be pandemonium, wouldn't it?
Well, we've got an anti-gun policy in any, for a start. So where would we get the weapons from? And that's one of the reasons.
Oh, wow.
It wouldn't work. But so I've been sending money out to the Philippines for years to buy bags of rice.
So you were telling me that you went and rescued a lady that had had a fall today.
Yeah, well, she used to be my next door neighbour, but as she got older, she divorced, and as she got older, she couldn't manage the 3-story houses that we live in. And she moved into a flat down the it isn't, it's a maisonette down the road, so she's only got one flight of stairs with a stair lift these days. Like many next door neighbours, we've had a love-hate relationship, but over more than 30 years, we've we're more or less friends. She has been suffering with various skeletal problems over the years and had a spinal operation last month. So she's in a fairly poor state, and I occasionally pop down with a meal for her. And last night she fell getting out of bed. Now, it wasn't just a fall, but it's quite funny, It's wrong to laugh about it, really, but she treated herself to some very expensive sheets. Not satin, but sateen, that woven cotton that's very, and I've got some, and they're lovely to sleep in.
I've got a good story about that. Carry on.
and that, but as she tried to get out of bed or back into bed after, it must have been back into bed after going to the loo in the middle of the night, as
you do.
Us ladies of a certain age do frequently. She sat on the edge of the bed, or whatever it was, to swing herself back into the bed, and the slidey sheets, she slid off the bed and onto the floor.
Oh, that's not good at all.
So poor lady, it was somewhat distressed, couldn't get up, having the problems with movement and that she's got. Pressed her panic button, cutting the story short, and eventually the boys and girls in blue came and and helped her, and she's kind of bruised ego and loss of dignity is probably
at least it's broken, I suppose. I mean, dignity, well, we all lose that in time.
But she, yes, and emotionally quite shaken by it. But anyway, I took dinner down to her earlier tonight.
The curative powers of dinner, Susie.
Well, I believe there's loads of food in the world for everybody, and I source an awful lot of the food I give out from Olio, the free food.
Excellent, isn't it?
Food rescue. I know you use Olio. A lot of people do. And people get to know me, that I make up boxes of store cupboard stuff and do fresh meals, and distribute to mainly families or people in need. And I take stuff for myself, but which is what I've always used. I used to use Olio just purely for my own needs, but over Christmas I got catering packs of sausages. Tesco's had an offer before Christmas on chickens and overestimated how many would go. Personally, I redistributed 40, I think it was 45. It was just under 50 chickens.
Wow.
I cooked some up. I took some to families I know who'd got empty freezers, because I mean, the other thing is these things turn up on Olio, or like some of the chickens came straight to me from Tesco's. Because a friend of a friend tips me the wink when they've got stuff. They're right on their use by date.
Yeah.
So you have to get them processed, for want of a better word, really quickly. And there's only so much chicken tikka masala anyone can make. Exactly, yeah. in a 12-hour period.
Well, as you know, I'm a vegan, and from a vegan's point of view, obviously I don't eat chicken, but there's one thing that I find more offensive than actually killing chickens, and that's killing chickens or any other animal for that reason, for no reason, and then throwing it away. And I think that's abhorrent. I can't bear that. So the fact that it is on its use by date, yeah, that's great. Use it up, distribute it, give it to where it needs to be. And then that death and that suffering hasn't happened for no reason. And I think it's atrocious that it does. I wish they'd underestimate rather than overestimate, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I buy people that do what you're doing, and it's such a worthwhile thing, regardless of who you are and what your background is. I think it's essential, actually, that people do it. So yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're saying about satin sheets, Suzie. I must tell you, I'm busted to tell you my story of satin sheets. So years and years ago, when I was married, my husband decided that he wanted some fancy satin sheets. So he bought 2 sets. He bought a black set and a off-white set, which all look very, very fancy. It was supposed to be very, very sexy. I think that was the idea. But the thing was, it was an entire set. So it was the pillowcases, the duvet cover, and the sheet. And as we've already discovered, they're rather slidey. And especially if you have the sheets and the pillowcase and the duvet cover on all at the same time, because there's no friction at all. It literally just slides around all over the place. And so when these sheets were on, I found that I was sleeping with every single muscle in my body just tense so that I wouldn't fall out. And if you had one pillow on top of the other one, it was like a bar of soap. So you'd like hang on to one pillow with your arm and hang on to the other one with your hand, because there was a distinct possibility that it was going to go whoop and disappear. And of course, then you were hanging onto the duvet because that wanted to go onto the floor because it was sliding off the sheet. Oh God, it was a pain. Anyway, this one particular night, it was a really hot evening. And at that time, I had a bedroom downstairs because I wasn't very well. So I had a bedroom downstairs. And it was a hot evening and I wanted the window open. My husband has a thing about rats and he's like, no, we can't have the window open. The rat might come in. I'm like, a rat's not going to come in. He's not going to be in the least bit interested in coming in. I want the window open. I'm having the window open. And that was the end of that. So I went to sleep. At least I had a bit of a draft on me. And I went to sleep. And then in the middle of the night, I suddenly woke up to my husband, who was obviously having a really bad dream. And he's going, oh, 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 oh. I'm like, oh, what is that? And in the same split second that I woke up, he lifted his knees up, put both of his feet in the small of my back and pushed me and kicked me straight out of bed. Well, of course, there was no resistance to the sheet. So I slid straight out of the side of the bed, ricocheted off the wall, and landed in a pile at the side of the bed. And he's still having this dream, completely asleep. So I'm angry. I've just been literally physically kicked out of bed because he thinks that I'm a huge rat. So I pick myself up and swear at him. That doesn't wake him up. So I pick up my slidey pillow and stamp off to the living room in a bit of a foul mood. And I think, right, so I'm going to go to sleep on the sofa then. So I'm trying to get myself comfortable on the sofa and finally managed to nod off. And no sooner have I nodded off than my husband comes in. He's like, "Oi, what's the matter with you?" And I'm like, "What's the matter with me? I'll tell you what's the matter with me." Oh my God. I went out of bed so quickly because all my muscles were so tense for not falling out of bed, but I just was like a ball. I just always shoom. I was not impressed. And do you know that next morning, every single one of those sheets went to the charity shop?
I wonder why.
I'm not having that anymore. They went in the wash and straight to the charity shop. I'm not having that. I was not an impressed person. I really wasn't. Oh, never again. So there you are. Apparently at night, I shapeshift into a huge rat. Oh, God. Yeah. Fond memories. Oh, God. Yes. Anyway, talking about shape-shifting. Did you get any witchy presents over Christmas at all? Or were they all run-of-the-mill things, or have you not seen anybody?
Well, most of my presents are still waiting. They're waiting for me in Cambridge and Guildford. So,
opportunity to see anybody.
I did get one witchy present from Bekie, who was with you last week. Yes, yes, I got one of her homemade candles, which was absolutely glorious. Well, it still is. Yes.
What did you get?
Oh,
Scent? Can you remember?
I can't remember.
My favourite one's the dragon's blood. I can't get enough of it.
I have an amber one that I've had for a while now, a couple of months maybe, and oh God, I should have looked before I should have.
Oh, don't worry. Never mind. But they're all amazing anyway, aren't they? But yeah, my favourite one's the dragon's blood. I just can't get enough of it. I love it. I've got one of those Himalayan salt lamps for Christmas from my daughter. And it changes colour, which is exactly what it's doing now. It's currently green. Oh no, it's
nice.
Oh, no. So yes,
just remember, don't clean it by dunking it in the washing up bowl, or even more stupid, putting it in the dishwasher. No, I've heard tale of people putting them in the dishwasher and then wondering how they've magically disappeared.
Yeah. Oh dear, that little light that you get on the dishwasher that says add salt isn't going to be going on anytime soon, is it?
Yes.
I'll tell you what I did that was similar. I used to have a turtle. Oh, I've still kind of got him, part ownership. He's called Barry. And Barry the turtle, like you do. When we got him, he was going to be called Dude. But then we decided that he didn't look like a dude. He looked like a Barry. So Barry stuck. Anyway, so I had one of those amazing sand roses, you know, from the desert when they kind of.
Oh, yes, yes.
I thought that looked amazing in his tank. That didn't last very long either. What is this? Oh. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
I better clean out the tank. It's all sorted. So yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. And it was a really nice one as well. It was one that I'd gone to Tunisia with my mum when I was 9, and we'd literally picked it up in the desert. So it was one that we'd found. And so it was massive. It was about that sort of size. Huge, great thing it was. Must have weighed about 1.5 kilos. So it was massive. And of course, that was the end of that. I was gutted, actually. What a stupid thing to do. So, yes, that wasn't clever. The other Prezi that I got, actually, I bought it for myself. I got given some Christmas money, which was nice. And I got that. And I'd seen that one of our friends had got it. I think it was Ria had got it. I don't know if you can see that. Wicked Plants. Yeah, Wicked Plants. What does it say? That's a wicked book. And it says the A to Z of plants that kill, maim, intoxicate, and otherwise offend.
Oh, I'd have thought that Chris Orton might have had that one as
Oh,
well. It's up her street.
Yeah, it was one or the other anyway, but I'd seen it on our little group and I thought I want
Yeah.
one. So my Christmas money wended its way to eBay. Thank you, eBay. And the other thing that I bought, which I haven't got yet, is a video. It's a DVD that I've bought, and it's a little witchy story that I'd never heard of until a couple of days ago. And it suddenly came up in, I don't know how it turned up, but it's called Kiki's Delivery Service. Have you heard of it?
No.
No. Well, it's apparently it's a coming of age thing, and it's about it's a cartoon, so it's like an anime thing. It's Japanese, and it's a little coming of age story of this little 13-year-old Japanese witch on a broomstick. So I thought, oh well, that's
how cute.
Yeah, I thought that's really sweet. So I thought that. I think it's only a kiddie story, really, but I thought, no, I'm going to get myself that. That sounds like fun. So that was my Christmas presents to me with my Christmas money. So yeah, so that was me done. All good.
Well, my present to me was some expensive teas. I'm a bit of a tea snob. You get wine snobs. I can be a wine snob as well, actually, if the truth be known. But so I bought some English breakfast tea from my favourite supplier, Jeeves and Jericho, and I also bought a tub of Russian caravan tea, which is my indulgence. I love that stuff. The way I drink.
Do you drink that in the normal way? Do you have it with milk and sugar, for example? Or
yes, you can do, but it's actually quite nice black.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of oolong, the Chinese tea in it.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's a blend of black tea and oolong. Sometimes I've been known to blend my own, and I get breakfast tea and Russian caravan, and so that is just got the tang of something different.
Yeah.
To it. But I've been trying very hard this past year to reduce my caffeine intake by using decaf teas, and I drink a serious amount of tea.
I don't like decaf anything. I really don't.
Because my blood pressure sometimes it goes up and down, but my diabetes nurse knows me, and she knows how we don't usually have a problem. But last year when I went into Guy's Hospital for a small op, they were all doing a merry dance about my blood pressure, and of course the more they fretted, the more the blood pressure went up, and it was quite spectacular at a couple of points. And they said, "Oh, we're going to have to put you on meds for this," and I said, no. Go and talk to the nurse, my doctors, and that. And she said, actually, if I wanted to get it down, she said the quickest way to get your blood pressure down a few points to just show that you're on it, you're doing something about it. It is to cut out caffeine completely. And Yorkshire tea do decaffeinated, perfectly acceptable decaffeinated tea, but the fancy tea merchants don't do quite so many decafs.
No, I can imagine not. Do you not think it tastes different? Because to me it does.
It does taste different. And it's a matter of finding one that's acceptable to you. And I don't beat myself up if I can't get a decaf.
Yeah.
Because the thing with blood pressure is that if you're constantly at a high, then you're doing damage. But if you can bring it down, and certainly if exercise brings blood pressure down as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And if I've been sat on my bum all week and then I go for medical and I've got high blood pressure, I've only got myself to blame.
Yes, definitely. It does play a big part, doesn't it? It really does. Yeah. So are you doing anything for this full moon? It's beautiful out there. I don't know if
it is, yes. I have looked. Interesting question, that. I'm not a great one to some people. They'd even say that I really disrespect my crystals. But I've actually cleansed them, washed them all in tap water and used a soft brush on them, with the exception of the salt ones. And crystals have popped up a couple of times. I've been led to look at my crystals a couple of times recently. Mid-December, my son brought his two boys over because the younger one's third birthday, so he came over to collect a birthday present from me. And they're 3 and 4.5, and they started playing with my crystals. And I'll show you. I brought them up from the lounge up here. You see, I have got them in a rather nice crystal bowl. It's antique, and can you see?
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah, and they live on the sideboard in this.
Yeah.
So little lads start picking out bloody great rock. This actually it's coral, so it's not as heavy as it looks, but so what do little chaps do when, oh look, that's nice, and then they'll chuck it back in the bowl, and I said, oh, I don't know whether it's the bowl or the crystals or what. So I said, well, if you take them out of the bowl, you've got to bring them to me. And they said, tell me a story about them. So I started talking about them. I don't buy many crystals or stones. And my son was listening to me and said, I really ought to write it all down, because there's quite a, you go through my crystal bowl and there are quite a few stories there. I picked this off a beach in the Philippines a few years ago, probably about 3 years ago. Probably should have left it there, but it was on the beach. It wasn't that I've hacked it off anything. Yeah. I can't get used to this being back upwards. You see, it's a really nice pattern on it.
Yeah, that is nice.
And you so eventually I'd got a lap full of stones rather than the boys throwing stones into a crystal.
That's definitely not what you want, is it?
Bowl.
Part of it.
And most of them they've got stories behind them. This is a piece of amethyst. As a child, I was really interested in geology.
Yeah.
And my father bought this for me in Switzerland when I was 11, so that's 59 years ago, along with this, which is it's rose quartz. And on Nikki Killinger's group, she's asked, what are your favourite crystals? And people have said, oh, I like this because of its properties and I feel the energy of something else. And that. So I've posted, actually, these are my favourite crystals because they're the first ones I owned, and they were bought by my dad, and he died 30 years ago. So, they're quite precious to me. There were a few other bits that, and on the same holiday, we picked. These are two bits of the one stone. It fits together like that. It's
oh wow.
You can't really see in the I don't think, but it's a mica schist or split.
Yeah,
you can see the layers on it.
Yeah,
we picked it up. There was we were camping near Ticino in Switzerland, and we would walk up a river bed where all the locals would go swimming. It was a glacial river, and I picked it up there. I mean, just walking. There were several, and that was the one I picked up. And my father showed me that if we banged it, it would split. And expose all the mica. Say the lighting.
It just not doing it.
It doesn't really show it to its full extreme. But so that that's got stories linked into it. And then we look at. Oh, this is the only one that's kept in. That's in plastic at the moment, because I don't want to damage it. I don't want to lose bits off it. A very good friend of mine climbed Kilimanjaro a while back and brought me back a souvenir.
Wow.
So
that is so cool.
Yeah. And he typed out the story of the spiritual happenings and his emotions.
So what stone is that one, Christy? Crystal is that one, Susie? What's that one?
It's a lava. It's not pumice. It's a crystalline. It's glassy crystal.
Oh wow.
It's so. I guess it's a silica, isn't it? If it's glassy, it's a silica. I've got to get to know this one a bit better than I do. And we have a piece of selenite.
Yeah, selenite. Yeah, I love selenite. I've got loads of it.
This
Yeah,
came
I've
from
got loads of it.
this.
I have. I've got more selenite than I've got other bits.
My dad brought me this back from a trip to Canada, well, a business trip to Canada in the 60s, and this came from the back of Niagara Falls.
Wow, how amazing is that?
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? So what I'm going to put up here is what Becca says. 1 minute. And yeah, and she says that she's some very mundane pebbles that she's collected from memorable places, and they seem much more important to me than my crystals. And actually, I would agree with that. And
absolutely, Becca.
Yeah. That's so true, because obviously in your situation you've got crystals, but it's the fact that they came with your dad and the memories associated with them that are meaningful to you, rather than the specific properties of whatever the crystals might be. And I think that's a really, really valid point. And if you're going to use them in self-love or in some kind of family work or something, rather than just having them sitting as a decorative piece, they've got so much more meaning and so much more worth to you, haven't they? They really have.
This, for instance, is a bit of marble. I picked it up on a roadside. There was a heap of marble stones. Partly it was native to the area I was in.
Yeah.
Now, I picked up 4. I don't know where its mate is, but it was at the Kazan Gorge in Romania.
Oh, yeah.
In 98, Romania was in a horrendous pickle, and I'd been invited to go and visit anytime. And I ended up there over Christmas and New Year, 98, 99.
Yeah.
And I'd resolved to do some earth healing that while I was there. And I realized, looking at everything, that what a massive, massive job it was, and that one person going and doing an earth healing ritual was going to do diddly squat. There had to be something ongoing.
Yeah.
So I stood at this above the Danube at this gorge, and I picked up 2 pieces of marble and chucked them into the Danube, and I said, "You're there. You're the part of my energy circuit, and when I send, I'm sending to you." And then there is another one somewhere, I think. So I take these, and every time I connect, and with putting the stones into the river, it is washing all the way down the edge of the country, and you're getting a far better energy transfer than if you just stood somewhere beaming energy.
Yeah. Do you know what, Suzie? Funny you should say that, because about 4 years ago, I went with a group of friends where, we're witches, druids, pagans of various different sorts. And we get together quite regularly. We went to Wales for a long weekend. We were there about 5 or 6 days, a very long weekend. And we did, our topic at the time was water, and creating healing waters and using healing waters to heal the earth. And actually, that's what we were doing in Wales. And we were actually sited just outside Bekie. So, of course, there's lots of waterfalls there.
Lovely there, yes.
Beautiful. So Bekie itself, obviously, you've got some of the falls, and then a bit further up, you've got the what are they called? Is it not the White Falls? I can't remember what they're called. I've got such a bad memory for names. It drives me nuts. Anyway, about 5 or 6 miles up the way from there, there's a really massive waterfall, which was just incredible. And what we were doing there, it was truly powerful stuff. There was about 15 of us, and that's what we were doing. We were putting our stuff together in order to try and heal what was happening at the time. As I say, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was incredible, and we could really feel the difference. And we all felt that we had made a difference. And it was interesting because I'd been on Druid camp a few months before that, or a few weeks before that, 6 weeks maybe. And just randomly, I'd come across somebody who was hoping to do the same thing, and she'd sort of devised various waters herself. And then I explained what we were going to be doing to her, and she's just like, take loads, because this has come from places that she'd gathered all around the world. And she was literally in the process of going around the world and collecting waters, and then kind of amalgamating them to make healing waters as a sort of a concoction, if you like, with lots of different waters combined. And that was the idea behind that, sort of thinking all the waters in the world are linked, and all the people in the world are linked, and therefore there's the link between the water and the people. And it was lovely. It really was truly magical. It was a wonderful experience, actually. We all enjoyed that a lot. So so I can fully understand what you're saying with that water thing. It really does. It's just, well, it's powerful.
It is, yes.
It really is. And you've got the intent as well. It's all those things combined, isn't it? She said, pouring more mulled wine.
Becca's comment about mundane pebbles and that. So that we picked up on a beach on the south coast. It was either Climping or it was Littlehampton or Hayling Island.
Oh, right.
It's it's glass.
I was going to say it's sea glass, isn't it?
Two slightly different colours with a white line through it.
Yeah.
No idea what it was. Probably something quite decorative piece of, but it's thick.
Yeah. Do you know, it's interesting. My dad used to live in Littlehampton. He moved there in 1993, I think it was. And prior to that, we always used to go down to Littlehampton as the family holiday when I was a little girl. And actually, he used to find the most amazing things on the beach. And he used to collect, if he found the sea glass, he always used to collect the sea glass. And, that was one of his things. And he had piles of it because it was one of the things that fascinated him. But he found lots of different sort of rocks and pebbles and, not just your bog standard hagstone, which you can pick up pretty much anywhere. But they were really interesting ones, and they had fossils in them, and of course they've been all smoothed, and it was lovely. I've got quite a collection of them, actually. But it does seem to be quite a ripe place, that whole Climping, Littlehampton, West Beach area. It's all, it all seems to have lots of it going on down there. It's really rather good. But like you say, you've got the connection with that, and then you've got a connection to something bigger, even though it's only something on the surface quite mundane, but it's got that hidden meaning. And I think that's what's so much more important in so many, not just crystals, I think in many witchcraft items as well. It's that hidden meaning that you interpret and then you use. And I think that's really important.
This is another thing off the beach. It's flint, but I just love the shape of it. It reminds me, sometimes it's a seal, sometimes
from here it looks like
polar bear
from here,
a seal. Sometimes it's like a like a bird.
I can see that. It's got all sorts of properties, that one, hasn't it?
Yeah, I love this one. It's, and because it's a shapeshifter, it's quite powerful.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's you're not going to go down Glastonbury High Street and buy and see 3 dozen all the same.
No, it's totally unique, isn't it?
Yeah.
Totally unique.
Yeah.
I've got an amazing stick like that I found. Let's see if I can find it actually, because it really is the most amazing stick I've ever seen. Bear with me a moment. So I found this last year on the beach in New Zealand, and there's a certain set of beaches in New Zealand that are absolutely renowned for their driftwood. Where is it? It's going to be now that I can't find it, isn't it? And they're absolutely renowned for their driftwood, and you're not supposed to pick bits up. But this piece was about 3 or 4 inches long, and I thought, I'm sure they won't miss it, especially as it was buried. And I just saw the point of it literally sticking out of the sand, and I thought, oh, that's mine. I'm having that. Oh, I can't find it. Where is it? That's not helpful, is it? Where is it?
Whereabouts in New Zealand is this beach?
It's just up Waikanae. Yeah, Waikanae. Oh, where is it? I'm going to have to put a picture of it up another time, or do it next time. Because I can't. Is that it? Nope, that's a raven. That's definitely not it.
It's camera shy.
What's that?
It's camera shy.
It is. I can't even see it. Oh, that's really annoying. Oh, no. Oh, annoying. Never mind. I will find it for next time and show it. It's amazing. And I call it my vagina stick, just to give you a little a little heads up. Oh, it's going to annoy me now. Where is it? Yeah, so this beach is just up from Waikanae, which is on the North Island, and it's about 20 miles north of Wellington.
Yeah, it's not an area I've been to, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's wonderful, actually, but it's particularly known for its driftwood, and all along that particular piece of coast is known for its driftwood. It's literally just piles and piles of it, and that dates back to historically from when when they discovered New Zealand and the settlers came, and then chopped pretty much everything down, because they wanted to make arable land, obviously, for their animals and whatnot. And some of the trees got used for buildings, and obviously some for firewood. But a lot of it literally just got chucked out to sea, which is criminal, really, isn't it, when you think of it?
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's what happened. So yes, of course, it's still being washed up on the beaches, and it's been in the sea for such a long time, a couple of 100 or 300 years. So of course, it's changed somewhat dramatically in that time. But it's all on that coast there, all on the west coast of the North Island, the particular from Waikanae North. And it's just everywhere, absolutely everywhere, and you're not supposed to pick it up and take it home. As I say, this piece, it's literally about 3.5, 4 inches long. And I thought, that's coming home with me in a boot. I packed it in one of my Uggs and then came home with it. So yeah, that's so annoying now. I need to know where it is. Right, I'm going to have one more look. Oh, come on, little stick. Where are you? Somewhere. That's what's so annoying, isn't it? And you know you've got it. Now, where have I put it? What have I done with it? That's the thing with not preparing things and having a conversation. Obviously, all these suddenly things pop into your head, don't they? And you think, oh, yeah. Oh, it's not there. Oh, you're not there. See, also another downside of when you've got so much stuff. Stuff and stuff and stuff. So one of the reasons that I asked you, here it is. I found it. Okay. So I don't know whether you caught what I call it. I call it my vagina stick. And I'll show you why. Put these glasses on so I can see. Okay, that's the back side of it. Let me move out a bit. There we go. So that's the back side of it, and it kind of looks a bit like a beak or a bird. But then when I turn it round, look.
Oh, yes.
How cool is
Oh, Mrs. Yeah.
But it also, and it doesn't sort of stand on anything, although she says getting it to stand up straight away. But yeah, as you can see, it's not very big. But it also looks a bit like a skull of a bird.
Yes.
It looks like all sorts of things, actually. But it's a really strange looking thing. But when I saw it, the only thing poking out the sand was this little pointy bit here. That's all that was sticking out of the sand. And I thought, oh, what's that? Pulled it, and out came the rest of me stick. I was like, oh,
Wow.
that's coming home with me. Good, isn't it? Yeah, my stick. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah, so one of the reasons that I was asking you if you were doing anything for the moon is that I've been asked to do a very unusual spell. So somebody I know, their brother passed away a little while ago, short while ago. And his niece was forbidding him to see the brother in the funeral home or have anything to do with it. She's literally banned that side of the family from having anything to do with it. So I thought, right, I'm going to use the moon and use the power of the full moon to try and get her to be a little bit more lenient. No, sorry. I'm going to use the power of the full moon to help this person find an appropriate solicitor, one that's going to be on the ball and do what he needs to do. And then the power of the waning moon, so that as the moon wanes, then I'm going to get the daughter, the niece, basically, the one that's putting the kibosh and everything, to kind of like let her guard down a little bit in order to get the result we're after. So yeah, so that's a really unusual spell. I've not been asked to do something quite like that before. Lots of legal stuff I've been asked to do over the years, but that one's quite out there on its own. I've not come across that. In fact, I didn't even know that it was legal for funeral homes to refuse other members of the family, at the behest of one side of the family, to refuse admission. Did you know that was a thing?
No.
Apparently it is. Isn't it?
I'm really quite surprised because
yeah, shocking, isn't it?
What can somebody do just viewing a body?
I think that's awful. I really do. And it's like, surely it can't be a legal thing. But the fact that there's passwords in place and that, the funeral homes sort of set up these passwords and so on, meaning that, that side of the family is completely banned from viewing and having anything to do with the, with the body and so on, suggests to me that it's not something that they've done for the first time. They're not going to have set that up purely for this occasion, are they? So it's something that they're obviously familiar with and have done before in order to be able to set this up. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I wasn't aware that was illegal.
No, it's weird.
Shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's my witchy spell request for the week. So I thought, so that was a big one. It took me a few days to come up with, what I was going to do. And then I thought, I just happened to pop outside a couple of days ago and saw the moon, how bright it was, and I thought, well, I'm going to be using that. Thank you very much. Because it's so big and so bright, I thought, yes, I can use the power of that and do various things with that, not only with the full moon. Obviously, today is going to be something I'm doing in a bit, and then the waning moon as from tomorrow. So, but yeah, what an odd request. It blew me away that was even a thing. It's really shocking. Yeah. It's amazing what people will do at times of adversity. It's not nice, is it?
It's not nice. No.
No, not at all. Now then, let's see. Have we got any questions in here? I've not been looking at them. I've been nattering away. As usual. Let's see. Let's see what we're up to. What have we got? So, full moon intentions ceremony and releasing ritual. I bet that was powerful, especially, because the moons have been so strong. A lot of people have been saying they've been getting real headaches and things from it, and all sorts of stuff. Actually, there's been people that have been struggling to sleep and all sorts of things. Yeah. Dawn Jerry Paul's in Brisbane. That's where my daughter lives. Yes. Hello, Dawn Cherry Paul. And jewellery sales. So many people, and I've not even said hello. Hello. I've got Maya. Yeah. And Frankie's Finds too. Hello. Yeah. I wonder what the full moon intention ceremony consisted of. It's always a good thing doing releasing ceremonies, of course, at this time of year. So many people do the whole New Year's Eve. Oh God, what are they called? Resolutions thing. And I've never done that because I never feel that adding guilt to my yearly commitment of self-doubt is really helpful. Yeah, just like, I'm going to commit to this and this and this and this. Oh, and guilt for not doing it. Yeah, great. So, I'm just not one for New Year's resolutions. And also, for me, it's not New Year anyway. New Year for me is Samhain. So 1st of November is my New Year. I always think of it as New Year for me. I never think of it at this time. Do you? Are you the same?
No, my New Year's about now. Well, I see Samhain as a point at which we go into a dark period and no man's land, if you like. It's a time for not doing magic. It's a time for rest and regeneration. It's like Persephone going into the underworld.
Yeah.
And that the new year begins after Yule.
Yeah.
So I am just coming into my new year.
Yeah.
Just slightly ahead of the calendar.
Yeah.
And then from Yule to Imbolc is a time of preparation, cleaning the surfaces as well. And this is, to me, is a time for the spring cleaning to in the house as well, is to your daily life should is reflected in your spiritual work and vice versa. Your spiritual work reflected in your daily life. I mean, I do try and live witchcraft rather than keep it as an entirely separate entity. Lot easier for me since over the past couple of years, because I used to have foreign language students stay in my house, and it was always a good idea not to wave witchcraft in their faces. The students from Saudi had enough of a shock that there was no man living in the house, and what's more, this female drove, and she drove like a lunatic for their benefit half the time. You can take speed bumps at 40 miles an hour, surely. Well, 30 is enough actually for my little car, but I used to do things like that to just frighten the bejesus out of them, and to prove that females could control a car.
Yeah.
But yeah, the signs of paganism, even now, are in my house. They're very subtle, and they're not in your face.
Complete opposite to mine then.
Yes, and there's a Buddha in the garden, which is mine, and I quite like. It was quite a nice statue. I bought that. But there's also a big painting of Buddha in my lounge, which was my son's. And it's above. My goddess is Kuan Yin, so my statue of Kuan Yin is by the painting of Buddha. So if anyone was to guess, they're more likely to say it's a Buddhist household.
Yeah.
I just let it be.
Yeah. That works for lots of different people, doesn't it? There's a lot of people that work that way too. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that in time things might change a bit. Yes, I burn incense and light candles, but
lots of people do.
But then that's so what?
Yeah, people do it if they're not a spiritual person. They burn candles because they smell nice, and they burn incense because it smells nice. Doesn't necessarily follow that it's a spiritual place, does it? So you can, if you need to, you can get away with all sorts of bits like that, can't you?
Can I tell you a story about burning candles because they smell nice?
Go on then.
My daughter-in-law, Nicole, often has candles to burn in the downstairs loo with two little boys and my son as a husband. Who wouldn't?
Yes.
So this is going back just over a year when young Lucas was 2. And night before his birthday, I was staying there, and my son James said I'm just going down the shops to pick up whatever, anything you need, darling. And she said, oh yes, candles. I need a number 2 candle. She's making up she's a chef. She made this beautiful birthday cake.
I can see where this is going.
So James came back with an airwick candle. Not enough candle in the shape of it too.
Mind you, I suppose if it was the other way around, that she'd actually wanted a candle for the toilet, and he came back with a huge candle with a number 2 on it, and every time anyone visited the bathroom, they had to light the number 2 candle. I'm so sorry, I had to light the number 2. Oh God, that'd be a bit of a giveaway, wouldn't it? Oh dear. Well, on that note, we have been waffling on for ages and ages and ages. So I think it's probably time we
Jane
Yeah,
has just said
tree.
she's wassailing an apple tree.
Yeah, on her to-do list.
Yes.
Up there.
Mm.
Yeah. See, for me, I like to do the wassailing at the end of January, just before Imbolg. That's more my sort of timing for it. I tend to think of it being more the second half of January, and I know it's, you know, lots of people do it around about this time and around about Yule. But in my mind, obviously, it's everyone thinks differently. But in my mind, it works that, you know, they're kind of sleeping at the moment, so I don't want to wake them up too early. But you know, when you sort of get past that, you know, sort of the first part of January, and it sort of starts settling down a bit. Usually it starts settling down a bit, and you sort of start seeing the first of the crocuses or the snowdrops, or even the point of the daffodils sometimes. And I think, yeah, things are beginning to wake up again, and then it's like, let's wake up the trees. So for me, it's the end of January more for wassailing rather than at this time. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but as you know, I wassailed my tree.
Yeah, you've done yours already, haven't you?
At Yule. It's the video of it is over on my aspects of witchcraft on Facebook.
Oh yes, we'll put a link. We'll put either a link, or we'll put that on the comments underneath when we finish. We'll put that on the comments underneath, so people can find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I can put it up there on here now. Where are we? Aspects of witchcraft, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aspects of witchcraft on face. There we go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so obviously people can go and have a look at that, can't they? And go and see what you're up to, and see your video for that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I did
that because I just sort of saw the bit at the end, you know, and you had your chimney going, and I sort of managed to catch the end of that. So yeah, I need to see that again myself.
Yes, that's there. There's not a lot on that page at the moment, but it will grow.
Yeah, definitely, because you're kind of doing some workshops from there as well, aren't you?
Yes, not quite sure of all the final details, but I want to run some online workshops, probably using the Facebook Messenger platform.
Yeah, that works quite well, doesn't
it? It works quite well, and I would it's basically elementary theory behind witchcraft. It's looking at the wheel of the year, what it means, looking at protection, grounding, centering, all the things that the foundations to of whatever you're doing. Yeah. I know that people, when they start off with witchcraft, they're all, I can, let's do some spells, and I'm saving up my money so that I can buy a wand, and and I've just seen these amazing crystals, and they're absolutely perfect. Well, engineered glass usually is absolutely perfect. So, you know, the stones you pick off the beach are yours, and the real thing. And as for wands, if you want, you don't got a pointy finger. Yes, or like that. It's called the goddess position. But you've got all the chakras in your fingers, and the chakras here, and you're bringing them all together. And
Yeah.
all that energy is going out of the thumb. It's even more powerful than the pointy finger.
Yeah.
So you don't have to run out and buy.
No, so many people think they do, don't they? And they need all the power, but it's just.
But we'll be looking at a few of the symbols, some of the things that some of the tools of the trade. Do you need them or don't you need them?
Yeah, or what is an alternative too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff.
So I don't know how many weeks I've got all the notes. I'm now compiling them into that does 1 week, that does another week.
Yeah.
I'm at this stage, I'm not going to do much in the way of spells, because although I appreciate that this is what a lot of people want to get let loose with it, I might have a spell of the week.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how many weeks. I might even do workshops 5 days apart, so that you're getting 3 workshops in a fortnight, so there won't be it'll be intensive work.
Yeah.
It won't be drawn out over a long period of time. But yeah,
people want that. They want to do the whole binge watch thing, don't they? Essentially, that's quite the culture at the moment. People want to sort of do it, get on with it, get it over, not get it over with exactly, but sort of like really suck that information in, rather than waiting for another week. And it's that whole cliffhanger thing. What happens next? Oh, we've got a fish. And it is, people don't necessarily want to be waiting that time, and depending on what their commitments are, of course, but generally speaking, especially at the moment, people have got time on their hands, aren't they? So yeah. So on that note, Susie, I'm going to say we're going to leave that there. We will put your thing in the comments as well. So we'll put a link for your aspects of witchcraft in the comments below once we've finished. I want to say an enormous thank you for coming and talking to me today. It's been fun and a laugh.
Always is.
Always
anytime, Becky.
Well, thank you very much. And obviously, as far as Heather's concerned, obviously we're thinking of her. Things are a little bit easier for her this week. Hopefully she'll be back next week if things are a bit better. This is Fishy. Say hello, Fishy. Oh, he says, I don't want to say hello. No. He says, oh, come on. There. He's so silly. He's a bit silly. And now he's upset. So hopefully Heather will be back next week. But I wanted to thank you very, very much for stepping in and chatting to me. And this is the time when we have to do the awkward wave. So here you go, everybody. And thank you.